And welcome everybody, this is Thorm with the Game Design Lexicon. Today we are starting a new game of Roadwar 2000. Now this will be the first time we played this on stream. This will also be, I'm going to go ahead and try and make it all the way through the game, which I should be able to, no problem, especially being able to reload old games and such. I hope you're having a wonderful Friday today. Probably going to need some music to the game because it doesn't have a lot of sound to it. So would you like to load a new game? So let's go ahead and get started, with a few caveats here. So we don't want to load an old game, let's call ourselves the Thorns, right? And here we are in Cleveland, which is probably going to be occupied. Now, before we actually start here, let's start by getting some music going because it's already a little too eerily quiet. So, donk 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 donk. Okay, what are we gonna play today? What would be appropriate for some? What would be appropriate for some Fallout, or excuse me, for some Road Warrior-esque. How about some jazz? There we go. And do we got it? Hey, we got it. Okay, now, before we get started in the game, everything, as you see, looks pretty straightforward. We are playing the Amiga version. I decided on it because it was the most well-programmed. It also had the best graphics and the most accommodations. Oh, shit, I just moved and I didn't want to. Let's go back to Cleveland. Actually, just to make sure we're not screwing anything up, so let's not click on it again this time. So, info for the game, Amiga version by Westwood. Westwood Studios, the same guys who did Mars Saga and other games. It is all menu driven, but the shortcuts, keyboard shortcuts do work. First thing we're going to do, though, is we're going to go ahead and save the game on the disk, just in case. That way, if we do screw it up, we can start over. Now, I will be using state saves on this, so there is that. So let's start off by going into the manual. So there we go here. And we are going to read the first entries in the little journal at the beginning, so you get a good idea what's going on in the world that we're trying to live in. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with Road War 2000, it's a very Mad Max, Road Warrior inspired game. You run a gang of people who are in a post-apocalyptic United States. You collect cars and other supplies. You grow your gang. You take over towns and eventually rescue the United States. From what I understand, it's been invaded by, of course, the journal entries that I read over will go over all this. It's been invaded by a foreign power, and they've released a virus that's killed a lot of people. But I do believe it's made the people who survived a little stronger, right? So let's go over that real quick. So this is the manual, of course, the digital version of the manual. Now this is the Commodore 64 manual. I also do have the bonus edition manual, which is for the Amiga and the Atari ST too. But we won't be using that. Honestly, it's pretty much almost the same. But it doesn't have the journal entries, which is what I want to read through. So, in a dimly lit corner of a government archive, you can find a dust-covered volume chronicling the most horrifying years in human history. It is the journal. I haven't read these yet, by the way, too. I skipped them over and I read the rest of the manual. So I actually saved these for the stream. So, it is the journal of the director of the top secret government underground biolab, and it reveals the institute's heroic struggle against the invasion of 1999. So, yeah, 1999 were invaded. The journal has been retained, but one hope that the world never again will need its lessons. The journal has been retained, but one hopes that the world again will never need its lessons. Okay, so March 29th, 1999. Oh, that's my birthday. I mean, not 1999, but March 29th. Anyway, you guys probably didn't need to know that. Washington is a zoo. St. Andrews received 187 new cases of the strange bug yesterday. The city is panicking. Unfortunately, ours is not an isolated case. 22 other cities have new similar outbreaks of the disease. So far, HEW is investigating the routine methods of contamination, poisoned food, bad batches of medicine, etc. We have been alerted, but no quarantines have been set up yet. The symptoms are extreme. The incoherent patient usually experiences debilitating nausea, chills, and high fever. Tomorrow we'll receive blood and tissue samples for analysis. I'll assign Pintero to the work. May 7th, 1999. We now have a national epidemic. Pintero found the cause of the disease, a bacterium in 3 different forms. At first, the bacterium exists as in a pupal stage, much like a caterpillar. The bacterium in this form causes great damage to the entire human neurological system. In the next stage, a cocoon, the bacterium becomes dormant, causing very little or no damage. But later, about 2 months after the adult bacterium breaks out of the cocoon, the patient dies. Pintero's experiments on rats have convinced me that we don't have much time. The disease runs its course in about a year. We've got to produce a vaccine that prevents maturation. Once we've done that, we'll have to find a cure. I'm creating a special medical task force in the meantime. We'll work with HEW to find out how this thing spreads. They suspect foul play. May 27th, 1999. It's worse than any of us thought. They used fake passports to get here. Anderson located one of them in Philadelphia, and I flew out for the interrogation in her guarded hospital room. Even truth serum didn't make her talk or dull the hatred in her eyes. She succumbed to the disease. She spoke deliriously of her home and her cause. We know only that she hates anything associated with the U.S. Her blood samples indicate the bacterium has matured. She has only a month to live, but I can't feel sorry for this suicidal lunatic. June 8th, 1999. This one talked. It's grim. The plan originated with a fanatic sect. Some of their scientists genetically engineered the bacteria. They injected 100 volunteers, then sent them to the U.S. to spread the disease. They have been very effective. 82% of our country is infected, to some degree. But the sect itself developed a cure. Many of the sect's members have received the vaccine. When I asked this member about the vaccine, he just laughed and turned his head to the wall. Our task force must succeed. June 13th, 1999. The country is dissolving into anarchy. The president, most of the Congress, the military, and the police forces lie in hospitals if they're lucky. Those that aren't lie in the streets, barely able to move. They can't find sufficient food and water. I remain isolated here with other GUB members. I pray for my family each minute, each second. But there is hope. Since we know a vaccine can be produced, the sect that infiltrated has won. Surely we can produce a vaccine too. The task force has a few leads. I'm sure we're close to our goal. July 7th, 1999. The secretary called me today. Harold, it's getting beyond our control. We're calling the National Guard to stem some of the looting. What can I do, sir? I think you'd better get that special task force of yours to the field to see the bacterium at work, to get a sample of the vaccine and analyze it. They're close, sir. Close to a real breakthrough. They damn well better be. Have them report to me tomorrow. I'll arrange new locations, everything top secret. Of course, I think about the members of the task force. They're eager to go into the field, but I know out there it could mean their deaths. July 8th, 1999. We stood listening to the secretary, everyone tense, white-faced, then carrying small satchels of supplies. The task force boarded the helicopter. Each member had been given pellets of food and vitamin concentrates that would reduce his food consumption by a half. The general population can get pellets only by looting the few shelters that contain them. July 20th, 1999. Nuclear bombs have struck strategic cities across the U.S. With the defense system down, we could not protect ourselves or retaliate. The bastards... Just the bastards. Radiation will cause horrible sickness. The worst of it is that not all of the bombs have exploded. Some of the hardware was defective, so in various cities there are bombs likely to explode at any time. People will flee to cities to escape the existing radiation, only to be annihilated by the delayed explosions. Anderson and Rogers tell me that the cities are divided into small sections, each ruled by a gang with a strong leader. In some cases, where the leader is strong enough, the gang rules the entire city. Funny to think of Boston run by a motorcycle gang. A gang leader usually gains control when he has a doctor, a drill officer, a politician supporting him, and a politician supporting him. Let me read that again. A gang leader usually gains control when he has a doctor, a drill officer, and a politician supporting him. Rogers, who made it back from the upper north side, said a leader called Mox is in control there. Mox found a doctor while looting for supplies at a hospital. A doctor, depending on the degree of his skill, may be able to save a diseased soldier. Roger doesn't know how. But he's seen men who live... But he's seen men live who, by rights, should have died. Drill officers at old military bases are usually willing to come with the gang leader. The drill officer is responsible for training and discipline. With training by a drill officer and experience in battle, gang members has his fighting ability increased. Of course, all this is relevant to the game, or most of it's relevant to the game, right? Incredibly, even in a bio and nuclear war, politicians talk and people listen. Mox found his politician by allowing needy people to join his band. Bureaucrats controlled Mox's area, but the politician reduced the amount of bribes Mox had to pay them. These gang leaders, together with their 3 cronies, can control cities. They can protect against or permit looting and other activities, but can they last? Now we must fight against a land invasion. Their forces already inoculated everywhere. Heavily armed with conventional weapons, the invaders struck along the coasts and came through Mexico. Our own resistance has mixed results. Few people are equipped or even physically able to fight the invaders. The gang leaders seem to have the best chances. No phones, no mail. I hear little from the outside world, and the agents have increased difficulty returning. But a message did get through from one of the 8. They are very close to a breakthrough. August 21st, 1999. The radiation from the nuclear bombs caused a strange mutation in the bacterium. The new strain affects the aggression-controlling area of the brain, causing extremely violent behavior. People carrying the new strain are called mutants. Ironically, the invaders' vaccine is not effective against the mutated bacterium. The invaders now are experiencing the agonies others have felt. They die from the mutated disease. We die from the original disease. Each side needs the other side's vaccines. The doctors, now called healers, who have the new vaccine cure people, but at a huge price. All men must be cured at the same time or they become reinfected. I feel disoriented and defeated. October 6th, 1999. Oh, so this all takes place in like half a year's time, huh? Travel is becoming extremely difficult for our agents. They must obtain food and gas, and if they are ill, the vaccine, transportation is a problem. There is snow and no one to plow the northern roads. Snow tires will cover twice as much ground as conventional tires, but they can be found in tire stores only. I loathe being forced to encourage looting. November 20th, 1999. Our supplies are dwindling. We've always kept a 2-year cache of food and water, but we've gone through nearly half that. Will we, too, become common looters and gang members when we've eaten it all? It must be time to bring the agents back to GUB, all 8 of them, Dade, McAllister, Washington, Pintero, Smidgelap, Troiter, Mills, and Sin. I need a leader. I hear that there are individual gang leaders who control several cities at once. When a gang leader controls enough cities, I'll send an agent out to relay instructions. Again, take note of that. If the gang leader is loyal to our cause, he'll help the scientists to get back here. By the time he brings 6 or 7 of them, I feel I can trust him and let him use the radio direction finder to locate the remaining 1 or 2. December 25th, 1999. I wait. Each tick of the clock signifies 1 moment gone, 1 fewer remaining. My men collapse physically and mentally. I myself am not well. The images of pain, terror, and the death in my dreams. It is Christmas Eve, 1999. The snow falls mercifully, covering the ugly scars. The old Christmas carols come to mind. O Holy Night. And that ends the prologue. Now, I've already read all of this stuff. This pretty much describes the playing of the game. It's heavily tactical. The tactical combats are what take the longest. However, it does have 2 forms of quick combat. One is abstract combat, which is all text-based, and then the other is quick combat, where it actually controls you in the tactical combat. Map of the United States, that'll be useful. Maybe. Dude, California is where to start in this game. Or East or West Coast, just generally best places to start. But, whatever. Finally, what is this here? Controlled by. Oh, taking notes on the cities. Maybe I have a notepad for that. So, vehicle icons. Oh, for the tactical combat. So, miscellaneous player's notes. The following notes were excerpts from the logs of notorious gang leaders. I don't know if I don't know if I'm supposed to read these now or if the game will actually give me the notes to them. So I'm just going to go ahead and read them since we're in the midst of doing the rest of it here. Note A, Ace Nader, leader of the AAA. December 4th, 1999. These up-and-coming road gangs are a blessing in disguise. They don't realize that they're just dog meat for any real gang. I call them welcome wagons because they keep my gang supplied with food, guns, fuels, what have you. They even deliver. December 9th, 1999. Forget what I said before. Ran into a real gang today, called themselves the LA Skulls. Put up a real good fight. We barely had time to salvage their supplies when reinforcements arrived. They chased us all the way to Modesto. Note B, Rocco Scalesi, leader from the pro tem of the AAA. December 28th, 1999. Ace bit the big one today. We ran into a heavily armored gang even bigger than us. Ace forgot to duck, and even Doc White couldn't save him. Note C. Elihu Lopez, leader of the Dos Equis. The road from Spokane to Fargo was a backbreaker of them all. Me and 400 boys left Spokane in 10 vehicles, 5 of them big rigs and nothing smaller than a limo. We got to Fargo. There were 80 of us stuffed into a semi. What a ride. The worst stretch was north of Denver when we ran out of gas. We searched for 2 days solid and nothing. Then all of a sudden, we eureka'd a fuel storage tank and we were cruising again. J.J. Jennings, leader of the Stockton Rollers. Starting out was the hardest. I remember when there was me and 6 or 8 good old boys in the Rollers. We started with one hot rod. I was thankful for the advice given me by B.O., the former leader, after I had bested him to take command. First, he said, you'll need more wheels, as many as you can find. Then get a couple dozen good boys to watch your back. Don't let your gang get too big, though, until you have a bunch of food. Once you've got plenty of vehicle space and food, start hiring troops. Watch our food, but gather a couple hundred of men at least. Be really careful of the invaders, scout every town, and if you find those SOBs, clear out, and fast. Okay. The last important thing is to know where the healers hang out in the area you're in. If there are no healers, it's time to move. Note E, Tom Towaway Jones, leader of the Repo Men. I wonder if these guys who made this game saw a Repo Man. Was that put out by then? I think it was. First of all, you got to get yourself stomping big, like a bus or semi, even a bulldozer. One of them can carry more in its weight in supplies. Then get some dudes, some crack shots, not namby-pambly tenderfoot, sure. You ask them to join you and then send the worst of them on a wild goose chase scouting or something. Keep an even eye on your gang. Lots of things can go wrong if you're short of food or medicine. Set up your caches early. That way you won't have to go mucking about around searching for something you need. Pay attention to where you're at, too. If you're stomping around near the Arctic Circle or in fall, don't be surprised if it takes a whole winter to get down to places what you don't have to shovel out the freeway. And find out who's in charge when you come into a new town. It's safer to go looking for them than have them looking for you. Besides, it's polite. Oh yeah, and when you get into a tangle on a road, you ought to take real good care of your wheels. Don't go screaming down a road at 100 miles an hour, because all they need to do is stick out a foot and boom, you're dead. Set your cars up in a checkerboard pattern to give you more, flexibility. Remember, the more road fights you really command, the better y'all get. So when y'all hit some of the real nasty road games like the Mother Truckers or the Hot Rod Lincolns, you won't get creamed. Keep in there, keep on trucking, and you might end up as king of the road. Note F, Gorgeous George Gutierrez, leader of the Marauders. What should I do? My men are starving and I'm low on fuel. Should I loot the town with the National Guard around, or should I take my chances with a feudal road gang? My men have come a long way from a bunch of dragoons. Now I've got some well-trained bodyguards and a few elite arm masters. Though I have some well-trained men, my attrition rate has been unusually high. There are only 28 men left out of my once-loaded Mac crew. I found 2 different foundries with enough workable steel between the 2 to build up some protection for my men on top. But now I need to find food. I decided to go south along the highway till I find a farm. I once heard there are a lot in California. Since I keep my group compact and in one car, it's easier for me to avoid the bigger gangs with more cars. Since my group is well trained, I beat all the groups that are my size. My group, however, would not be so well trained if I had not passed by Cheyenne Mountain in the Midwest and found that military man. Yesterday I was talking to Ace, leader of the AAA, and I was telling him how dangerous it was driving only one vehicle. Thanks to some great welding jobs my crew did in Chicago, my truck has taken some head-on collisions and has come out okay. Note G, Jammer Jackas, leader of the Paris 8 gang. To my trusted lieutenants, to be read after my death, July 10th, 2000. We haven't been together very long yet, but I realize now how dangerous it is to travel these days. We've lost many friends and followers in numerous battles, but have somehow managed to gain new recruits. Now that I'm gone, allow me to emphasize certain important facts which will help you towards reaching your goal. Fuel is your most precious commodity. Never carry so many other supplies that you have to scrimp on fuel. Certain places are much more dangerous than others. Follow your survival instincts and avoid prolonged stays in the most dangerous areas. Try to train, arm, and protect your people, especially the more able ones. They are harder to replace than vehicles. Try to maintain a balance between the size and strength of your group and its mobility. And that is it. Okay. So, where did we start? That's the good question. We're Dayton, Ohio. I tell you what, let's look for a good start. Let's look for a good start. When I say a good start, I want someplace in the South. Where are we? Salt Lake City? No. Try again. I guess in for new game. East. Where are we? Santa Rosa. There we go. Let's stick with Santa Rosa. Hey, X-Man. Happy Friday. Welcome to the Roadwar. I hope your day's going well. I hope your week's gone well. I hope your weekend's going to be going better. So let's go ahead and give this a save here since we're starting in Santa Rosa here. That should be a lot easier. No snow like there would be in Salt Lake. And I'm sure Salt Lake's probably just... I don't want to be in Salt Lake. Okay. You just missed me reading all the journal entries in the manual explaining the game. So that's what I did the first half hour, and now we're actually starting. So this is in WinUAE, which I do have a state save in here. So I am going to be using state saves for it. I think anyway. Let's go ahead and start off with state save 000. And so we started our gang off. We're called the Thorns. We have one vehicle. We can have 6 vehicles max. Now you can increase that by fighting tactical battles. Although every tactical battle you fight increases your max vehicles all the way up to 15, right? People 8. We have a maximum of 8 people. Now that's of course determined by what vehicles you have and how many of them you have. Food 36. So we got what is that? 8 24, why can't I do this? 3, 4, 5 days of food. No medicine, 4 tires. So we got 4 spare tires, a little bit of fuel to zip around in if we can. 1 gun, 25 shots. So we have 2 free space, which means we don't have space for shit, right? Let's put that on slow speed for now. Let's make sure that everything's saved in the initial position. Let's go ahead and update that that save state here. Yes. Okay, so that is our game beginning. Now we have the ability to search the town. We can scout it, we can loot it, we can find people, we can find vehicles, right? We can abandon vehicles, we can drop supplies, we can look at the Empire status, which we don't have any. I guess I will get back to an explanation of the interface of the game when we get back. This form of the Game Design Lexicon, we're playing Roadwar 2000 for the Commodore Amiga, a wonderful, I guess it was made in the late 80s, mid to late 80s? No, mid 80s? When the hell was this game made? Give me a sec. I'm going to look this up so I can get this right here. Let's see. I'm sure the Amiga version was made later, obviously, than the original. So the original was made in 1986. So we're playing a 1986 tactical, I guess you wouldn't call it an RPG game. It's tactical road combat. You're managing a gang, so it's more of like a turn-based strategy, I guess you could say. And it's made by Strategic Simulations Incorporated. It dominated a large portion of my youth when it came out. And, of course, I played it initially for the Commodore 64, which was all sorts of fun. Of course, the IBM version, I believe, is in those crappy 4-color CGA graphics, which is why I didn't choose it. If you like our content here, make sure you give us a follow down below on Twitch, which we do stream currently Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, noon p.m. till 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's GMT -6. Or, of course, you can catch us over on YouTube pre-recorded. Just hit the subscribe and the alert button and know we're coming out with new videos. We have other social media platforms you can catch us on. You can hit that up in our About, both on YouTube and on Twitch here. I'm going to have a short music break, and I will be right back with some more Road War 2000.